Blackstone Publishing presents An Unladylike Profession. American Women War Correspondents in World War I by Chris Stubbs, with a foreword by Judy Woodruff. This book is read by Bernadette Dunne. Foreword by Judy Woodruff. In the early decades of the 21st century, Americans don't think there's anything unusual about women putting themselves at risk to report the news, from war zones and post-conflict arenas to countries where any truth-seeking press is considered a threat. On the PBS NewsHour, where I work, correspondent Marcia Biggs has been on the scene repeatedly in recent years as bullets flew and bombs exploded in Syria, Yemen, and Iraq, while Jane Ferguson built a career reporting from hotspots in Afghanistan, Yemen, and Somalia. Both, along with CNN's Christiane Amanpour and many other women, have been among the first reporters on the front lines when conflict breaks out, not to mention in places where there's profound political instability, making it unsafe for journalists to go poking around asking questions. Of course, it hasn't always been this way. Today's intrepid female reporters stand on the shoulders of women who pioneered in the role. Women had to fight for a place in the ranks of the press covering World War II and even decades later in Vietnam. But it was during the Great War, World War I, that women began showing up against all odds, laying the groundwork for women who would much later follow their example. Whether they wrote for news services and newspapers or women's magazines, such as Good Housekeeping, a more common outlet then for female reporters, they had to persuade editors, colleagues, sources, and a skeptical public that they had what it took to report on some of the most dangerous places on Earth at the time. Despite the doubters and the lack of precedent, more than 36 women, journalists and writers, traveled overseas to be eyewitnesses. From 1914 until 1917, while the United States was neutral, and then, on different terms after the United States entered the war and became a participant for the final year and a half, they made their way to the Western Front and all the belligerent countries and wrote dispatches that often told the backstory of the war, the hospitals, and even the homes where they found not only wounded soldiers, but the lives of women and children turned upside down by conflict. Since the combined World War I death toll of military and civilians ran over 16 million, there were countless stories to tell.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?